Okay, so here we are again up with the new chapter. It is chapter 7, Living and the Non-Living Things. In this chapter, basically what you are going to study, you will be going to study here about the living things and the non-living things. Then we will be studying in detail the basic characteristics of the living things, about their structural organization, about how they get the food and how they get the nutrition. Then about their growth, how they grow, how they move, about their movement, and how they respire, how they breathe. Also, how they get rid of the waste from their bodies, how they excrete, and how they reproduce, and what kind of lifespan they are having. Different living organisms are having different lifespan. They live for different years. So basically in this chapter we are going to study about the basic characteristics which are shown by the living things. Although the chapter is about living things and non-living things, but we are going to study in detail about the living things. Got it? So here you are having your chapter 7, Living and the Non-Living Things. Now see, in our daily life we see a large number of things and all these things are different from each other. हम लोग अपनी डेली लाइफ में बहुत सारी चीजें देखते हैं अपने आसपास एंड वो एवरीथिंग डिफर फ्रॉम ईच अदर. कोई भी चीज एक जैसी नहीं है. दे डिफर फ्रॉम ईच अदर. दे डिफर इन कलर. दे कैन बी हैविंग डिफरेंट प्रॉपर्टीज. दे कैन हैव डिफरेंट कलर, डिफरेंट साइज, डिफरेंट शेप. दे मे हैव डिफरेंट प्रॉपर्टीज ऑल्सो. So depending upon their properties, they are categorized in different ways. Now in our daily life, we come across various things like pen, paper, pencil, different furnitures like chair, table, sofa, bed, the trees, plants, birds, buildings, trees, animals. On the basis of their characteristics, the scientists divide these things into two groups. Basically, we come across a large number of things and among them we have categorized all the things into two categories, and these two categories are the living things and the non-living things. दो categories कौन सी हैं आपकी? Living things और non-living things. Now what are the non-living things and what are the living things? Coming to the point directly, what are living things? All the things that have life in them, they are called the living things. जितनी भी चीजें हैं जिनके अंदर life है, they have life, they are called the living things because they are living. जो जिंदा है, they are called the living things. For example, all the plants, the insects, different animals, and we human beings, they are the living beings, living things. And what are the non-living things? The things that do not have life in them, they are called non-living things. All the things that do not live, they do not have any life, they are called as non-living things. Some examples of the non-living things might include the wood, paper, sun, moon, stones, rocks. These are all the non-living things. जितनी भी चीजें आपके आसपास हैं जो respire करती हैं, जो life contain करती हैं, whichever thing is having life in them, they are the living things. And whichever thing is not having any life in them, they are called the non-living things. Now all the living things, they are natural. जितनी भी living things है वो क्या है? Naturally बनी हुई है already. Humans ने कुछ नहीं बनाया है. All the living things, they are natural. But the non-living things, they can be natural as well as man-made. Natural भी हो सकती हैं वो, man-made भी हो सकती हैं. For example, the non-living things like sun, moon and stones, they are the naturally occurring substances. They are the naturally occurring things. Sun, moon, stones, ये जो चीजें हैं ये man-made नहीं है, इंसानों ने नहीं बनाई है. They occur naturally. They are the gifts of nature. So they are the natural non-living things. Whereas the other things which are not natural, which are being prepared by the man-made activities, which are artificially prepared, they are the man-made non-living things. So basically, the non-living things, they can be Man-made as well as natural. All the naturally occurring non-living things, they are called natural non-living things, and all the non-living things which are made by man or which are artificially prepared, they are the man-made non-living things. Got it? Now, coming to the next topic, we are having the characteristics of the living things. Non-living things के बारे में आप basically सब जानते हो. देखो, living things कौन सी हैं? जितनी भी चीजें हैं जिनकी अंदर लाइफ है, जैसे हम ह्यूमन बींग्स हैं, एनिमल्स हैं, प्लांट्स हैं, ये क्या हैं? लिविंग थिंग्स. ये क्या करते हैं? लाइफ कंटेन करते हैं. बट ऑल द थिंग्स विच आर नॉट हैविंग एनी लाइफ इन देम, जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल द प्लांट, द ट्रीज, दे आर लिविंग. वो क्या है? लिविंग. दे आर हैविंग लाइफ इन देम. बट अगर आप एक प्लांट को कट कर देते हो, इफ यू कट अ प्लांट एंड गेट वुड फ्रॉम इट, उससे आपने वुड ऑब्टेन की, दैट वुड इज नॉट लिविंग. वो वुड क्या है? दैट इज नॉट लिविंग, दैट इज नॉन लिविंग थिंग, क्योंकि लाइफ उसकी खत्म हो चुकी है. एंड आफ्टर दैट द कारपेंटर, ही प्रिपेयर्स द डिफरेंट आइटम्स फ्रॉम दैट वुड. चेयर बनाते हैं, टेबल बनाते हैं, सोफा बनाते हैं, बेड बनाते हैं, अलमीरा बनाते हैं. ऑल दीज थिंग्स, दे आर मैन मेड नॉन लिविंग थिंग्स. So earlier that wood, when it was having life, when it was attached to the plant or the tree, then it was living. But once it got detached from the tree, it became non-living. So this is basically the difference between the living and the non-living things. So next comes characteristics of living things. See, there are many characteristics that are unique to only the living things. जितनी भी लिविंग थिंग्स हैं उनके अंदर यूनिक कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स हैं. दे ऑल मूव फ्रॉम वन प्लेस टू अनदर प्लेस, ऑल्दो द मूवमेंट में डिफर. किस तरीके से वो मूव कर रहे हैं, दैट में डिफर, बट दे ऑल मूव, दे ऑल ग्रो, दे ऑल रिप्रोड्यूस, दे ऑल रेस्पायर. So these are basically the characteristics of the living things. Let's study the basic characteristics of the living things in detail. Before studying the characteristics, let me just explain you the basic structural organization of the living beings. जितने भी living things हैं, living beings हैं, उनकी structural organization कैसी है? How they are organized. So the body of all living organisms, that is made up of cells. The basic structural and the functional unit of any body is cell. आपको ये पहले भी बताया हुआ है. I have already discussed all these things. The basic structural and functional unit of any body is cell. जो सबसे छोटी यूनिट है आपकी बॉडी में, that is the cell. The living things, they have a definite structural organization. देखो, हमारी जो बॉडी है बहुत सारे बिलियंस ऑफ सेल से मिलकर बनी है, किसी एक सेल से मिलकर नहीं बनी है. इट इज मेड अप ऑफ बिलियंस ऑफ सेल एंड वन सेल इज द स्मॉलेस्ट स्ट्रक्चरल एंड फंक्शनल यूनिट ऑफ लाइफ. अब इसको एग्जाम्पल के लिए अगर मैं आपको एक्सप्लेन करूं, इट इज जस्ट लाइक अ हाउस बिल्ट ऑफ ब्रिक्स. एक घर बनाने के लिए घर के अंदर क्या है? बहुत सारे रूम्स हैं, रूम के अंदर बहुत सारी वॉल्स हैं और वॉल्स के अंदर बहुत सारी ब्रिक्स लगी हुई हैं. सो दैट वन ब्रिक, इट इज द बेसिक यूनिट ऑफ दैट कंप्लीट हाउस. उस पूरे हाउस की जो बेसिक यूनिट है, जो सबसे छोटी यूनिट है, दैट इज द ब्रिक. सो जस्ट लाइक द ब्रिक इन द होल हाउस, वन सेल इन द होल बॉडी इज जस्ट लाइक the same. They are all the same. So each cell is just like a compartment which contains a round part in the center which is called the nucleus that controls the functions of the cell. जो आपका सेल है, सेल एक कंपार्टमेंट की तरह है जिसके अंदर एक राउंड पार्ट है. उसके सेंटर में क्या प्रेजेंट होता है? एक सेल के अंदर एक न्यूक्लियस प्रेजेंट होती है एंड दैट न्यूक्लियस इज एक्चुअली द मेन कंट्रोलिंग सिस्टम ऑफ दैट सेल. उस न्यूक्लियस के अंदर ही सब कुछ है. That nucleus is controlling all the functions of that particular cell. Now you have to keep it in mind that the basic structural unit is cell. So firstly we are having the cell. सेल्स को कंबाइन करके क्या बनता है? टिश्यू बनता है. कंबाइनिंग ऑल द टिश्यूज, organs are formed, and combining the organs we get an organ system, which is our body. This is the flow chart. सबसे छोटी यूनिट क्या है? The basic structural unit is the cell and group of the similar cells that perform a particular function in the form of a tissue. एक सेल सबसे छोटी यूनिट है. अब सभी सिमिलर सेल्स को कंबाइन करके क्या बनेगा? एक टिश्यू बनेगा. सभी डिफरेंट सिमिलर टिश्यूज को कंबाइन करके एक ऑर्गन बनेगा और सभी ऑर्गन्स को कंबाइन करके ऑर्गन सिस्टम बनेगा और उसको हम लोग क्या बोलेंगे? बॉडी बोलेंगे. सेल इज जस्ट लाइक दिस. दिस इज वन सेल. ये एक सेल है. ऐसे ही अगर बहुत सारे सेल्स को मैं कंबाइन कर दूं, दिस इज वन सेल एंड दिस कंप्लीट स्ट्रक्चर, ये पूरा का पूरा जो स्ट्रक्चर है दैट इज टिश्यू. ये क्या है? एक टिश्यू है. Now combining all the tissues, they form one particular organ. Organs, they are what? जैसे lungs हैं, आपका stomach है, heart है. These are all the organs. और आपकी पूरी body के अंदर कितने सारे organs हैं? That your body is actually the organ system. A group of organs, they perform particular life processes. They forms an organ system. Now we have studied this, that different organisms, they are formed of these cells. Now it depends upon the type of organism whether it is formed by a single type of cell or different type of cell. जरूरी नहीं है कि पूरी बॉडी के अंदर सिर्फ एक ही टाइप के सेल हों. Some organisms are having single type of cell. They are made up of a single cell. On the other hand, different organisms, they are made up of different cells also. So on the basis of the number of cells, animals can also be classified as unicellular or the multicellular animals. कैसे classify कर सकते हो आप animals को या organisms को? as unicellular and the multicellular. Unicellular and multicellular. Unicellular which is having a single cell, उसमें single type के cell होते हैं. And multicellular, it is not having a single cell. They are having multi cells. See, it is also shown here. Firstly, we are having the basic unit which is the cell. It is present here. Combining all the similar cells, it forms a tissue. Combining all the tissues, it forms organ. And combining all the organs, we form an organ system. And depending upon the type of cells, the number of cells, the organisms are classified as unicellular, जिसमें single cell होगा, और multicellular, having multi cells. So among the unicellular and multicellular, we are having certain examples. The amoeba, paramecium, and yeast, they have a single cell, so they are called as unicellular. If you are asked for unicellular organisms, examples of the unicellular organisms, you can give the examples of amoeba, paramecium, and yeast. They are the unicellular organisms. On the other hand, the other animals like human beings, we are multicellular. We human beings and the plants, they are having more than one cell in their bodies, so they are called as multicellular animals or multicellular organisms.
Thank you and have a good day.